Okay, the next tech tool that I'm going to show you guys is one that was shown to me by a first year teacher. He said that he learned it while he was doing his student teaching, and um, my students showed me because we were talking about like ways to review and what games they like to review, what's a good way to help them retain, or what best fits them that they will learn best. And they had mentioned that this new teacher does Quizlet live. And I was like, okay, I've heard of Quizlet. I think all college students have heard of Quizlet. However, I've never heard of the live version. And so this is one that's going to be kind of hard to show you guys like step by step on how to do it because you need at least like 5 people to play. However, it can still I can still show you guys the basics of like how it works and whatnot. So to get started, like you just open up whatever browser you're using. You go to Quizlet. Um, you go to Quizlet.com. And if you don't have an account, you can create an account. It's not a problem. It's free, simple to use. Um, this is my school account because this one I use obviously for school. Um, so, for example, I do my reviews where I give my students all 50 questions that are on their tests, and then um, they're required to like answer those test questions. I don't share this with them. So what they see in class, that's their first study guide, and then they have their own study guide that they use. But this way they get a glimpse of the tests. That way it's not such a surprise. That way they don't have test anxiety for the test. This way they're actually seeing it, and they're getting a feel for it. So let's just say I'm going to use my Chapter 3 one. So I made these flashcards already, but you do have to make flashcards. So super easy to do. I actually need to create my chapter or my management unit 4 one. So let's just say you're starting off the bat. So you go to create. Um, and then here is just where, like I said, you just create it. So this is where I'd put management because I also teach marketing in the spring. And I put what chapters it is. 16, 17, and 18. So this is our last unit too. So this is where I would put the answer, the term. So for example, I may put like control, and then like I may put like an example, like a question. I'm just trying to think of like what the question would be. Um, which management function are we currently learning about? And that's a poorly written question, but just off the top of my head, um, that may be one. And then when you're done, like you've done all yours, like I said, I do 50, so my students can see all 50 questions that are on their tests. I just hit create. It creates your flashcards for you. Oh, okay, I gotta create one more. So let's just say, um, controlling what is the and I just we are currently learning about. I just rewrote the question. Okay, so now I will hit create. Okay, now you will see over here, like this is if you use Google Classroom, you can share it on Google Classroom. If you use Remind, you can use it on Remind. If you want to copy the link, like if you want to give your students an actual Quizlet, you can do that as well. Okay, apart from all that, so I'm not going to use this one, but I just wanted to show you guys how you create your flashcards. So I'm going to go back to my Unit 3 because I know that one's done. Okay, so when you are completely done with your flashcards, so these have all my 50, and then you hit live over here. Okay, so like I said, it's going to be kind of hard for me to show you because you need other devices, other students to actually be here with you. If you upgrade to the teacher, it does cost. So I always just do the free one where it shows the definition and term. So this is why I do My term is like the answer, and then my definition is the question. If you do upgrade, you can, it doesn't matter which way you put it in, because either way you can select which option you want. But if you do not plan on upgrading, then you'll do your term as the answer and you do the definition as the question. So I just select the free one because that shows my question, and these are my answers. I will hit create. And now this is where I can't show you anymore because you need at least 4 students to join. So they will go to this website. It's kind of like Kahoot, but more team interaction. The students will have to type in that code right there, and then they are able to like create a username. My students are high school students, so sometimes they create fun ones, which I'm fine with as long as I know who they are based on their username. Otherwise, like if you want to be particular about it, you can say like you have to do your first name or first initial last name, however you want to do it. But basically, after they have joined, I wonder if I can. I'll see if I can look up like photos of Quizlet Live so you guys can see what it looks like. Like in the okay, so like for example, once a student has joined, they then are put into a team. So like you will see here, this is what would be like projected on your smart board. Okay, so like I have tigers, T-Rex, lions, and zebras. Okay, you can either put your students in a like personal team. So like if you know Zoe and Ryan work really well together, maybe you put them together. Otherwise, if you don't have a preference, I suggest mixing up the team. Let the computer do the work for you. So this does like it picks the teams. Depending on the amount of questions you have will depend on how many questions students are asked in each round. So this one says that there are 12 questions students have to answer. Now, this shows what question number each team is on. So like Tigers, they're on question 11. They're almost done. They're almost going to win. T-Rex is on number 9. Okay. Lions is on 6, zebras on 6 as well. So these two are like neck and neck. If you get an answer wrong, it takes you all the way back to the very first one. Okay, so not only are you working on like how quick can you determine the answers, you're also working on recognizing the answers as well. Okay, so like this is what it would look like on a student device. Okay, so like I was just looking at the name, sorry. Okay, so like right here I can see my answers. So this says you. So this would be like me as a student. So like when I signed in, this is me. Okay, so this is what I can see right here. So these are my 2 options. It does a check to show that I've already used that answer. Okay, so students have to work together. Sorry. Sorry. Students have to work together to create their to find the right answer. So we all won't have the same answer. So like it may say like what color is the sky, and I may have like purple, black, red, and yellow. And Alec may have the right answer, but I don't know Alec has the right answer because all I can see are blank spots to see which ones he's used. Okay, so that's where we need to work together to be like, okay, who has the answer blue? And that's where Alec would be like, oh, I have the answer blue. Okay. Um, it's really cool. It's really fun. I know it's really hard to explain, and you know when you can't actually see it. But like I said, here's like another visual. Sometimes when technology isn't even working, like computers or internet slow, I allow my students to um, use their cell phone devices as well. But like I said, once you get students to join, like then you can just get started with the game, put them in their teams, and then that's when they work together to answer the questions. And so it's a very good repetition, especially if they get the wrong answer. Then that way they're just like, oh, okay, I remember this one. I remember this one. But the first time they see it, they have to look in their notes, they have to work together. And then after a team wins, depending on the amount of questions you have, it will start back um, to the, um, I'm sorry, after a team wins, it will then pull a series of different questions again. So even though it only showed 12 at that time, when you go to play the game again, it will change up the questions. So you will have a completely different set of questions than you had the first time. You may even see the same questions that you had the first time, but either way, it's helping those students get, familiar with terms, get familiar with the questions that they're going to see. So this was Quizlet Live. My students love it. It's an engaging review game that I use. I shared it with another coworker in the English department when she was learning terms for the book that they were reading, and she said that her middle schoolers loved it as well. It was a lot better than Kahoot because students were um, worried about just like buzzing in right or buzzing in first, but they're more worried about like getting the answer right. Otherwise, it takes you back to the beginning. So I say try it. Trial and error. See if your students like it. But give it a go.